The member for Leichhardt.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr Speaker. Will the Treasurer update the House on today's release of the national accounts figures? How do these figures show that the Morrison government's economic plan is keeping Australia's economic resilience in the face of economic challenges? And finally, Mr Treasurer, is the Treasurer aware of any alternative approaches?
The Treasurer has the call.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Leichhardt for his question. A great champion of Northern Australia, Mr Speaker. It's somebody who's a great supporter of the reef, a great supporter of the tourism industry, and there's no more enthusiastic supporter of all those crocodile catchers out there, Mr Speaker, than the member for Leichhardt. Now, I can inform the House that in today's national accounts we saw growth of 0.5% in the December quarter. What we saw through the year is 2.2% growth. That was up from 1.8% through the year growth for the September quarter. Now, Mr Speaker, this puts to rest the falsehood that is spread by those opposite that the Australian economy was softening at the end of last year. And in fact, this side of the House believes in the resilience of the Australian economy, and it has defied all those who seek to talk it down. Now, Mr Speaker, this is the sentiment that we agree with. This tide of negativity, relentless negativity from the doomsayers has to stop because it insults the hard work that so many Australians put in to make our economy strong. Who said that? Was that the Prime Minister?
No, it wasn't me.
No. Was it the member for Riverina? No. The member for Pearce? No. Mr Speaker, that was the former Labor Treasurer, the member for Lily, Wayne Swan, Mr Speaker. Now, Mr Speaker, the reality is, in today's national accounts, we saw household disposable income increase by 2.6% over the second half of last year. Average earnings, which is another way of measuring wage growth, was also up 3%, Mr Speaker, through the year. Now, Mr Speaker, the alternative approach is the high-taxing, high-spending approach of those officers, the fiscal mismanagement, the huge budget deficits. So I was pretty surprised when I had a look at a book by Paul Kelly called Triumph and Devise on page 415, when he talked about the alternative approach from those opposite. And this is what he said about Wayne Swan. Wayne Swan announced the budget would return to surplus in 3 years' time.
The Treasurer will resume his seat. The Leader of the Opposition was seeking the call. The Leader of the Opposition on a point of order.
Relevance.
No, I'm quite capable of listening to the question and the point of order, and I'll rule on it. So, the Treasurer, he can stand there if he wants, but it did ask about alternative policies, approaches, but what the Treasurer needs to do is relate it to the material he's producing and relate it to alternatives. Member for Chifley's not helping, again. But I won't blame him this time. It's not always deliberate. The Treasurer has the call.
Mr Speaker, the alternative approach is the fiscal mismanagement that occurred on the other side of this parliament on their watch, Mr Speaker. And the reality was that it says on page 415 of this book that Swan's senior advisor, Jim Chalmers, captured the mood. He said he captured the mood when he said the media sell in the budget lockup was easy. Back in black, Mr Speaker. There we had, from the former member for Rankin, running around the budget lockup talking about back in black. The reality is, Mr Speaker, on this side of the House, we have delivered the first balanced budget in 11 years, more than $300 billion of legislated tax cuts, unemployment that's fallen from 5.7% under Labor to 5.3% under today. Under the coalition, the economy will continue to be stronger.
The Manager of Opposition Business on a point of order.
The Treasurer is talking about back in black. I'll move an extension of time.
No, he's moving an extension of time, and it's a serious motion. So the question is the Treasurer's time be extended. All those of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary, no. The Treasurer. Wait, just wait. I haven't called you yet. I haven't called you yet. I'm just going to address the House. So under the rules, the Treasurer has an extension of time for half of what he had before, so he has a further 90 seconds. The Treasurer has the call.
Mr Speaker, only one side of this House has delivered more than $300 billion of tax cuts.
Members on my left.
That is this side of the House, Mr Speaker. Only one side of this House promised $387 billion of higher taxes. It was that side of the House, Mr Speaker. On one side of the House has created more than 1.5 million jobs, Mr Speaker. It's this side of the House. And, Mr Speaker, there's only one side of the House that saw unemployment rising. It was 5.7%, and it was that side of the House, Mr Speaker. Now, Mr Speaker, when the Labor Party were last in government, 62,000 small businesses closed their door in the last year. Now, Mr Speaker, under this coalition, more than 300,000 small businesses have been created, Mr Speaker. And under this side of the House, Mr Speaker, we have delivered the first current account surplus in more than 40 years, Mr Speaker. Under this side of the House, we have delivered the lowest welfare dependency in more than 30 years, Mr Speaker. Under this side of the House, we have delivered the biggest tax cuts in more than 20 years, Mr Speaker. And under this side of the House, we have delivered the first balanced budget in 11 years, Mr Speaker. Only the coalition can be trusted to deliver more jobs, lower taxes and a stronger Australian economy.
Members on my right. I'm just saying to the member for Rankin, that sort of might not look good on film, but that's the matter for him. The member for Rankin has the call.
Thanks, Speaker. My question's to the Treasurer. I ask him again, does he still stand by his guarantee that his budget is back in the black?
The Treasurer has the call.
Mr Speaker, we stand by our commitment to ensure a stronger Australian economy, Mr Speaker. We stand by our commitment to ensure a stronger budget, Mr Speaker. We stand by our commitment to ensure lower taxes, Mr Speaker. We stand by our commitment to create more small businesses, Mr Speaker. We stand by our commitment through our most recent MyEFO numbers and the most recent numbers we saw in national accounts to ensure that the Australian economy continues to deliver for all Australians.